Thank you very much. Looking forward to this.
We would like Marty to make Engineer Mike a co-host, please. So Marty is now turning the live stream function on, and very shortly the Zoom recording will begin, but we need to make Engineer Mike. Greetings, everyone. Welcome to the OnPassive Kenya webinar. Today, we're going to be open to the public. So every one of you here are welcome. And if you want to share this webinar, just know that it is live streamed on multiple YouTube channels. So we would like to acknowledge your presence here today. We have good leaders here that will be able to answer your questions after the presentation is done. So it's going to be a YouTube, not a YouTube, but a PowerPoint slide presentation. It's very short. The topic is data centers. And when the presentation is done, you can feel free to ask your questions, raise your hand, take notes as you hear my presentation so that you'll know remember what you want to ask, okay? So Engineer Mike is now co-host. So thank you very much. We're gonna begin with the presentation. All righty. So we're going to begin with Engineer Mike.
Hello.
Hello.
Good morning, everybody. Good night, good evening, and good day to people all around the world. Welcome to another edition of the OnPassive presentation. Thank you, our Leadership Council members present here, all the leaders from all the other countries. It's a good day, and we'll need to just bring what OnPassive is bringing to us, which is the data center. So today we want to talk about a data center. We are here. You can ask us any questions that you want to after the presentation. Anything you're not clear about, we will break it down for you in such a way that you understand it. Even if you are not a tech savvy or you don't know anything about IT. Next slide, Lee.
All righty.
So we have two definitions for a data center. The first one says is a simple way to access servers, storage, databases, and application servers or application services over the internet. Then the second one says it is a space dedicated to holding data servers to store and process data. Next slide, please. Now, we want to talk about the types of data centers that we have out there. There is one that says, the one that says enterprise data centers. How are these ones? And how are they formed, or how are they used, or what is all about them? So they are typically constructed and used by single organizations for their own internet or their own internal purposes. They are common amongst tech giants. So most of these tech companies, which are the tech giants, we know about them, Microsoft and the rest, most of them have their own cloud environment that can be only internal for them, internal use. They don't market that one. Okay, that's what we're trying to say. The other one that we have is co-location data centers, which functions as a kind of rental property where the space and resources of the data center are made available to the people willing to rent it. So this data centers is a big business. So you can build your data center and you decide to rent it out to other companies, which will come and store their information in there, their data, and what happens? They pay for it. So you'll be making money out of what you had as an investment to build the data center. Now, so we have the managed service data centers, which offer aspects such as data storage, computing, and other services as a third party, serving customers directly. So we have some that deals with customers directly. Okay, it says the same thing. It's still for storage, computing, and other services. Now, the third party there is we can have company number A. Okay, company number A would be that company that is own the data center. So company number B is contracted to bring company number C. Let's have three companies, right? A, B, C. Company number A has the data center. So company number B is being contracted by company number C to provide or to store their data. So company number B or company B will go get the data from company company C and brings it all over to the data storage and store it. That's the kind of situation we are talking here in the third type of data center, which is managed service data centers. Then we have the cloud data centers, which are distributed and are sometimes offered to customers with the help of third parties, managed service providers. Now, on the cloud environment, we can have specific people who are just dedicated just for them to be transferring or transporting that data from company. Let's take again the case of company number A, B, C. Company A is the owner of the data center. Company B again will be contracted by company C to come and take their data and transfer it and bring it right up to the cloud. They can be doing it through the cloud space, okay? And when you're doing it through the cloud space, you say that you are doing it remotely. So the cloud space is virtual. You can't touch it. The cloud is just there in the cloud. A great example is when you're doing like live streaming, something like this one in Zoom. You can store. It asks you two things: either you want to store or save the Zoom meeting on your laptop or computer or any device you're using, or you want to store it in the cloud environment. So if you decide to store it in the cloud environment, you can also go and retrieve that information after. It's just the same thing like the cloud data that people are storing, okay? Because what are data is just information that you put on there. Next slide, please, Ms. Lynn. Thank you. Now, we have 4 different kinds of data centers. We have the Type 1, Type 2, Type 3, and Type 4. So the Type 1 is just a basic size infrastructure, okay? That you have just an infrastructure like a big building, okay? Now we have the Type 2 that is the redundant site infrastructure capacity components, which means that it has some kind of the redundancy and all that. It has some kind of customized, it's like a customized environment that they use to in such a case that if there is any power failure or any problem, online network connectivity problems, we have another infrastructure there which will take charge of that problem, because nobody wants a downtime. When you have services online, you don't want downtime. So type 2 is the one that deals with that redundancy. Then Type 3 is concurrently maintainable site infrastructure. So this Type 3 means on there we have technicians that are on site, which can be, taking care of maintenance stuff, or it also have an infrastructure that you can be remotely and you'll be able to manage your maintenance. You can maintain your services or your servers while you are remotely, very far from the location where the data center is. Now we have the Type 4, which is fault tolerant site infrastructure. So this one that says number 4, which is Tier 4, is the one that it has the fault tolerant site infrastructure. So most of the troubleshooting of a data center would be in the Type 4 of the data center. So troubleshooting is just one of the aspects which the administrators working on the servers, they have as a duty to troubleshoot. They can troubleshoot for network problems. They can troubleshoot for connectivity. They can troubleshoot just to see, like, let's say a user just calls you and say, oh, I cannot log into my servers. So you will be, as an administrator, you will need to know what is wrong with that server. So maybe that server is not even up and running. There are command line tools that we use, or commands that we use on the command line to verify if those servers are even up and running. Then we will also go to verify if those people, they have even permission to log into that system. They might not even have permission to log into that system. So all that is being done in the tier 4 environment. Go to the next, please, Ms. Lynn. Now, if you see what this guy is right here, this is a data center, okay? And this guy basically should be either a Linux system administrator, or a database administrator, or just a system administrator. All those three that I've just called you, they have different functions. So, but basically, if you see what he is doing, he has his earplugs bought on his ear. It is because this environment is very noisy, very, very noisy. So if you see the connectivity, these servers are organized on racks, like rack 1, 2, 3, 4. You see them come down. Before, in the early 90s or late 90s, we used to have something like the musical set. If you buy a musical set, you will have some deck and all of, you use a rack to organize all of them there. So this is kind of the same situation. But for here, the duty of these administrators in here, what do? They do troubleshooting, okay? They do system hardening. They harden their system by giving some restrictions for people not to even get into their files. They restrict it by starting by the grub level, and also they go further to go through their hardware. So you can, but what he's doing right now is what maybe he can be doing troubleshooting. Like I say, the duties, what they do here, they do a lot of troubleshooting, they do system hardening, they do user management, they do monitoring. They monitor the system so that they should not be so hot. None of them should be using so much space and all of that. Then they do installation, configuration, and decommissioning of servers, as they are right there. That's their duty. Okay, I can have an acronym for it. I call it TOMP. TOMP, like TOMP. So that's what is like, how they say it. It's like the summary of what they are doing, the TOMP. Troubleshooting, system hardening, user management, monitoring, patching, and installation, configuration, and decommissioning of servers. Go to the next, please, Ms. Lynn. Now, if you see it again, where that first technician was, or first administrator, server administrator, is the front part of the data center. So if you look at this now, you will see that it is the behind part of the data center, because you have so many connections. If you look, those are cables. All you see, cables. They are neatly arranged, very neatly arranged, and it is 100% leaded all the time. Because maybe even during the day, you can enter there and you don't have good electricity or good lighting. So it should be lit all the time. That's a data center, okay? Let's go again, please, Lynn. So if you look at this again, this is the behind part. Now you can see that the technician has his laptop open, or desktop right there with him. He is doing what is called troubleshooting. So he is looking the outcome on his screen. Then he is doing, if you see his hand is on the cables. So maybe he should be having something like a connectivity problem right now. So, but he's using the command line interface to be giving the commands to see if he can have the problem fixed. This is what is called troubleshooting. Remember, I told you the duties, right? This one is troubleshooting. Now, when you go here, this is the largest data centers in the world. We have China Telecom. We have Switch Supernap. We have China Mobile. We have Dupost Fabros Technology. We have the Citadel Campus. We have CWL1, Range International Information Group, and we have Utah Data Centers. Those are the largest data centers in the world. Can we go next, please, Ms. Lynn? Now, when you go here, it says countries with the most data centers. We want to get that by their numbers. The first one is United States that has 2,653. The next is UK that has 451. The next, Germany, 442. The next is Canada that has 279. The next is Netherlands, 274. Australia with 272. France with 248. And Japan with 199. Next, Ms. Lynn, please. Now, what are the advantages of data center? Affordable rates for customers, robust software and hardware, great system performance. Customers do not need to hire people to maintain and manage a data center. So instant scalability based on customers' needs. So services are always available for the people and due to for backup as well. There is no failure of any system because they do a lot of backup. Okay, next please. So I'm done, Ms. Lynn. Take over. You're muted if you're talking.
Thank you, Engineer Mike. Everyone here will be able to ask questions at the end of our presentation. So this slide here, it shows you the market share of the leading cloud service providers. And as you can see, Amazon Web Services, or AWS, has a commanding lead with 32%. Microsoft Azure is a distant second with 19%, followed by Google Cloud, who has just 7%. This is an interesting graph which illustrates Amazon's income from the first quarter of 2014 through the third quarter of 2020. And you can see that the income generated, excluding AWS, is in yellow. You will see that this growth was not stable. It was very up and down. So now you want to compare this with Amazon's income, which includes AWS. This is illustrated in the blue bars. AWS is Amazon's largest source of operating profits, and AWS's revenues make up 14.5% of Amazon's total revenue of $110.8 billion. And this was in the third quarter of 2021. Here you see AWS's quarterly revenue from 2014 through 2021. And you can see that there was stable and significant growth. And in the third quarter of 2021, AWS revenue jumped 39% to $16.11 billion. As you can see, there is a high demand for data centers, and this is due to the fact that data generation and use has risen. In the age of data, there are about 7 billion internet-connected devices, and this number continues to grow. Many of these devices generate large masses of data that must be captured, routed, stored, evaluated, and retrieved. Companies find it expensive, difficult, and time-consuming to manage data in-house. More companies are outsourcing their data operations to third-party providers which specialize in data center operations. And this is why there is a huge and growing demand for data centers. As you can see, in January 2021, there were 8,000 data centers globally. This is a huge number. And you can see the global cloud computing market size. In 2021, the market size was $445.3 billion US dollars. And it is expected that in 2026, that market size will increase to $947.3 billion. As you may or may not know, OnPassive is going to be having its own data center, which will be completed in about 2 to 3 months. And in fact, OnPassive is currently migrating its data to the data center. So let's talk about the advantages of OnPassive having its own data center. First and foremost is our autonomy. OnPassive will have full control over the services, and there is no dependence on a third-party service provider. Secondly, and also importantly, is security. OnPassive will be able to protect its valuable intellectual property and sensitive business data. Let's talk about profit sharing. As a founder of OnPassive, founders will be able to get a monthly part of the monthly distribution of the profits. And this is going to be very significant because as OnPassive revenue increases, founders' share of this profit sharing will continue to increase. So this is something very exciting for all of us who are founders of OnPassive. So I say to you that the future is very bright, and we hope that you will come into OnPassive if you are not currently a founder, because this opportunity is just tremendous. Thank you very much. Thank you, everyone. So at this time, we are open to any questions or comments that you may have. We ask you to raise your hand in order to make a comment or ask a question. Everybody good? Marty, did you want to say a few words? You want to chime in at all, Marty? If you're available. Oh, I see John Barillas here. Hi, John. Good to have you here. You can unmute yourself.
Hi. I don't know if this isn't exactly a question, but I almost brought this up last night and I didn't. But you know, we saw these data centers and how many there are around the world, and so many more in the United States here. And then our largest one that you showed us was in Utah. And I think I saw something on 60 Minutes or somewhere a while back where they were showing location and where some of these centers are. And oh my, the buildings, and they were these huge, not tall, but huge buildings. And so I'm thinking, we're going to have our own data center. Do we have any idea where that might be, or will it be a secret location, or and how much property and how big a place would this possibly be? It just occurred to me, you know, the physical structure of these places where we saw those gentlemen working inside. You know, that just occurred to me. I just wondered what we might know about something like that. Like where might ours be, or will it be secret? And
right.
how, you know.
Engineer Mike? You can unmute yourself. Are you there? He may be away for a few minutes. So we can, let us answer your question when he returns, because he's our resident expert today. Is that okay, John? Thank you for your question.
But also in the process, as we wait for him, the potential for OnPassive having data center, I think, is going to be a huge source of income. Even looking at OnPassive itself, the number of products that we have, and still Ash and his team are working on making and creating more products, it's going to be massive data in itself. So I'm thinking, if with all our data, if Ash goes ahead and rents a place to have our data hosted, at the moment we are using AWS. If we store all our data there, it's going to be very expensive. So I think we are a better chance having our own data center. It will save us money, so that instead of that money being paid to a third party to host us, the money will remain home. And guess what? Who will get part of that money? It's the founders.
Good point,
So if
Gladys.
you are here, yeah, if you are here and you are not a founder yet, I think this is a future that is promising. It's a future that is full of potential. So get back to the person who invited you here for them to guide you through the process, how you can be part of this movement. Thank you. I see Engineer Mike is back. John, you can ask your question again.
Okay, hi. I was talking about the number of centers all over the world and how the most are in the United States, and that I saw that Utah had quite a number and was the largest in the United States. And I was wondering about the actual physical structures, the size of them, and where it might be, or where our data center might end up being, and how much property and how big a space could this might possibly be. I just wondered about that kind of stuff, the actual structures of where the data center might be.
Okay, let me answer you, John. I will just give you some specifics. Then, from what our CEO has been telling us, we can deduce what it is. So if you look at where data centers are mostly built, they are built in the outskirts of town, like towards the airport, most of them. Then also in isolated areas that people have not even started how they construction and stuff like that. Then if you look at it again, in Canada, specifically where I am, most of our data centers are on the ground, underneath the ground, in the basements, and most of them are along the train routes. We have train routes in, for instance, Quebec, which is one of the biggest IT hubs in North America, Quebec. We have them, most of them is in the train routes underneath. The reason is the data center is very noisy, one, and it can cause a lot of air pollution, two. Then it is also very, very hot. The environment is very hot. So most of the time when you get into a data center, you have a lot of fans, okay? A lot of fans turning to cool down the temperature right there. Not cooling it like real cool, but just to kind of make it a little bit cool. Then it is very noisy, noise pollution. So they are always built in the outskirts. So your data center size will depend on your need. For instance, if a company wants to build its own private data center, they don't need too much space, right? But if they want to market their product, for instance, if they want their own, they can make it 4,000 square foot for them alone. Now, if they want to go to market it, they will increase it. Maybe you'll be having 150,000 feet square. That's how large and cumbersome a data center can be. So, but for our own data center, because we'll be using artificial intelligence for our data centers, there will be special data centers that we have so many features that the present day data centers that we're seeing now, they don't have them. So just by bringing all those features with artificial intelligence, which is a lot more bigger layer of security to our OnPassive products, we know that. So our own story will be different. But if you look at it from what our CEO used to tell us, remember, he tells us that there was a time that he had a data center in California area. Yeah, so now, basically, if you look at it, most companies have their data centers located towards the DMV area, right? So he can decide to bring our own there. We don't know yet, but we are speculating that because of the population and the market that we will have in the DMV area, it can be in DMV. We were just proposing. But remember, anywhere that a data center is, it is good, it's productive and very productive, and also you can log in remotely from any location that you are around the world to that data center. So it doesn't matter, the location doesn't really matter. What matters is the size, and if you want to market it or you want to use it privately. I don't know if that answers you, John.
That's just about what I would like to hear. That's very good. Thank you.
You're welcome, John.
Thank you for your question. We all learn when we get to hear people speak, whether it's sharing information or asking questions. So I appreciate that. Gladys, go ahead and speak.
Engineer Mike, this question for you and any other IT leader who is on, and anybody who can contribute in just a simplified form, in a few words. Can you help someone who wants to understand how does this data center benefit OnPassive and their bottom line? How is it going to help them? Any leader can contribute.
I will do that. Then Madi Digamo will complete it for me. I'm choosing him because he's knowledgeable about OnPassive, and I'm not as knowledgeable about OnPassive like he does. So I'll try my best, then he will finish it up for me. Thank you again, Gladys, for your question. So what we need to know is OnPassive is going to, like, we are going to the world very soon, going to be launched to the world very soon, and we are coming into the market. We are owning the internet space because we are coming as a unicorn company. Okay, we're coming as a unicorn company. Our products are very revolutionary, built from scratch with 21st century cutting edge technology. You can't beat that, which is artificial intelligence is embedded in all our products. Number two, again, our products, they have API, okay, which is application programming interface. That's our products can talk to themselves. They are integrated. They can integrate, we can integrate anything into our products. So this data center, if you look at the big people who are already having data centers, let's talk about AWS, Amazon Web Services. The amount of money that they make from a data center, I don't know the figures, but if you look at the figures, you will see that they have about 4%, okay? About 24 or 4%, no, about 24% of their revenue comes from their data centers. Do you know that? 24% comes from their data center for a big company like that. And they have so many data centers all around the world. So let's take it that OnPassive, that is something that I want to commercialize. Commercialize means I want to sell it, to rent it out to people who are doing businesses. So it means that we'll be making a lot of profit from renting this. Now, I gave an example yesterday when I was in Friday Night Live. Let's take it this way, break it down. Now, I'm a Linux system administrator, okay? Red Hat certified Linux system administrator. Besides being an engineer and all that, I'm in IT as well. So we had a project. That project was to migrate data for one company, okay? Migrate data from one company from their on-premise to their cloud environment. On-premise means you have an office building that you have computers inside and you have data in there. That's on-premise. Now, the cloud environment is the one that you don't see it, it's virtual. So we had to migrate their on-premise data to the cloud data on our own, my company I was working with on the project. So everybody said, from all the Chrome people, they said that it will make about how much? It will take about 2 weeks. So you can never really project that and say it will work. No, this IT, no. So with everything was in place and everything was in place, we ended up, we had just 50 servers to do all of that, right? 50 servers. We had just 50 servers to do the migration. We ended up using 8 months. Do you hear? Instead, they say it was to be done at 2 weeks, like the people previewed, but we ended up doing it. So just OnPassive alone, just imagine each of that server to be migrated, all the data and stuff, it costs about 5K, okay? So 5K for all the 50 servers times 50, that's 5,000 times 50. How many servers are those? How much is that? That's a lot of money. Then not only that, we want to talk now about our other services that we offer. After doing that, we have to do a lot of things there. We have to update the system. We have to decommission all of the servers that are there. So that's another money. They are paying us a lot of money. Just for those 50 servers, we ended up making about 1,200,000 francs for 50 servers only. So just imagine that we have a big enterprise that comes to OnPassive that they want to migrate their data. Let's say they have 100 servers. How much would be that? That amount of money that I just told you times 2. So if we have even another bigger enterprise that comes and contact us and contract us that we should do migration for them, do you know how much that would cost? That's a lot of money. So that is what, and in OnPassive, for us, the founders, our CEO has promised us, and he tells us every day that he will be doing some kind of profit sharing with us. So which means we'll be having a percentage of everything that OnPassive is doing, is monetizing on. So that's what we will gain as founders in OnPassive. Ms. Gladys, I don't know if it's good enough for you.
Marty, did you want to add something to what Mike said, Marty?
I don't know if I can, but I'll try. No, but like Michael said, though, look, as said from the beginning that we'll have products and we'll make commission off of those products. And he said, we'll also make commission off of other items that come into the company that create revenue, like the data center. It will create revenue. Example, people that live in the United States know what Amazon is, correct? Okay, 52% of Amazon's revenue is the data center. That's a lot of money. It's more than half. More than half the company generated wealth from that company is the data center. And where that money will come in is you get these big companies out there that are now leasing data or the internet highway from like AWS. They'll now be given another option. Do we go with OData or whatever the name of the company is? We don't know. For 25, 30% less cost? You darn right they will, because that's the bottom line. They can save money. If you save money on the bottom line of any company, that's where the value is. That's why Ash talks about value. He only has to be a little bit less and people jump all over it. But yeah, that's where it is. And remember, he said there'll be other streams of revenue besides the actual products. Like even when they get into hardware, like stuff you can hold in your hand or physical products. When they start manufacturing those type of things, whatever the revenue that brings in, same thing. Or if a customer comes in and says, hey, can I put an ad on your sites? There's millions of them. By then there'll be 10 million, 100 million of them. And then he comes back to the founders and says, do you want this little ad on the bottom of your site? Yeah, you might make a few bucks from it. Now, why would they want to do that? Because your site's going to go out in front of millions of people. It's like taking a piggyback ride on something that's already out there. You know, it's really good advertising for a big company. So all this stuff is going to magnify and leverage other things and multiply the revenue stream for all of us. But pretty much Mike covered it. But yeah, I mean, that's all I can really add.
That's exciting, very, very exciting. And I also think about the fact that the number of founders of this company will be finite. As soon as Ashma Farah decides to close off the founder opportunity, that's the pool, right? However, revenue will continue to increase, right? This company is going to be involved in so much more than just digital products. So can you imagine, as the revenue keeps coming in and growing, the distribution of the revenue, or what we call profit sharing, will just be more and more. As the months go by, our small little group of 1 million plus founders get part of this profit sharing benefit, right? So this is huge to me, because we're saying in the first year alone, OnPassive will be attracting at least 100 million new people. So then us, the founders, 1 million plus of us, will then represent just 1% of the total number of people in this company, right? And in future years, maybe we'll be 1/10 of 1% of the total number of people in this company. But we still get the profit sharing. So, you know, that's to me very, I guess, lucrative and exciting. And are we doing anything to get that? I mean, the advertising revenue, for example, we don't do a thing. All we say, we click a box that says, yes, I would like to have ads on my website. How much effort does that take? Just click the box. And then you start to see the money coming in because of profit sharing. So this will apply to all the different streams that are offered, streams of income that are offered to founders. So I think this founder opportunity is a golden one. And those of you here who are not founders, we hope that you'll check it out. You know, go back to the person that shared this webinar with you and get more information and just sign up, become a founder, because it's well worth it. Gladys, you can have the floor. Go ahead.
Yes, this is really a very special opportunity. That's why, as you can see, those who are founders, I'm sure you have seen, those people who have caught the vision, they are trying to get in not only themselves, but getting in their loved ones. I remember, I think it's a few weeks ago, Dr. Benny was speaking and was encouraging people to register their children. I was surprised that my nephew is a founder. Actually, I got him in, and he has taken a lot of time to attend the meetings, to listen to the recordings. He gathers his friends who recently graduated from university for them to listen. And I was surprised when he told me he wants to get his mom in because he has understood the vision. That's how good it is. Because he knows when his mom comes in and without doing anything, OnPassive company is recruiting for her, it's advertising for her 24/7, it's building her team, and she's gonna have revenue coming in, she's gonna earn, and eventually who keeps that legacy when the mother's days are finished in the world? We're gonna die someday. You know, our time will come, but our children, this will be a legacy. But here is a child who is seeing that by helping the mother to get in, the legacy will eventually remain to him. And when his time comes that God is taking him from this world, his legacy will go to his children, to his children's children, to the third and fourth generation. And that's how poverty also trickles down. We were not born in rich families. that poverty has been coming down from our great-grandfathers to our great-grandfathers to our fathers and to us. We are trying to break this chain of poverty. And the only way that we can do it is by stepping up, having this opportunity, step in. You know, what I said, I was never interested to understand the business. I just wanted to get in and have that financial freedom for me and for my immediate family. But as days go by, I'm discovering the importance of really sharing it to the people that you care about, to the people who depend on you, to the people who you see are suffering, and always a giving hand will never lack. You may not have now, but you will have tomorrow. So we are blessed to be a blessing. Thank you very much.
Thank you for those inspiring words. I totally agree with you. That's what OnPassive is all about, sharing the blessings of this great company and CEO. People's lives will be forever changed around the world. I think this globe is going to be massively better because of OnPassive and the founders of this company. Thank you. Do we have any more comments? Oh, we see Jeffrey Morlock from the Leadership Council. Glad to see you here, Jeffrey. Just unmute.
Hey, and good morning. I take it everybody's doing well today. Sounds like it.
We're great, thank you.
I was listening, and I just wanted to offer a little bit of kind of a broad perspective on some things that somebody had asked about a little while ago. And they were talking about how OnPassive can be benefited by the data centers and or how the data centers can benefit us in OnPassive. And that's a good question going forward, because we're building a lot of momentum here and doing some things that are, as far as I'm concerned, in business anyway, rather unprecedented by the way that actually rolling this out. We need to understand that companies that need data centers is anybody, any business at all, or any entity at all that generates or uses data or has a need for that information or that broad and massive data, and the motivation, I mean, not the motivation, the movement of it, you know, back and forth over the net and that sort of thing. And I mean, this includes like government agencies and educational agencies and medical, and just everybody, anybody that uses any kind of online information or social networking services or anything at all. The way that we're going to make money with this is because, like yesterday I'd said, it's kind of a hybrid between three different things, which is real estate, technology, and service. But we make money by selling managed services, space and power and access to the internet ecosystem, which OnPassive's got a huge digital ecosystem. So in a sense, which we kind of fleshed out a little bit yesterday on the other one, is they function like hotels where you rent a room in the hotel, and everything you need for your stay while you're staying there is able to be provided for you. So that's kind of that. The way that we're going to be using it specifically with OnPassive, and I think engineer Mike or maybe Oliver touched on these things yesterday, because there's different ways that you can operate or use or have services operating from a data center, in which that you've got like infrastructure as a service. And this is simply so that we can provide equipment to customers that don't want to invest in building their own, right? And the whole cost of that. They've also got networking as a service, which with OnPassive will actually offer the networking services, you know, like some folks offer phone over internet, right? The VoIP, right? Or virtual private networks, VPNs. I mean, OnPassive will have a massive VPN, so I'm sure they'll probably be offering that. And there's other things. There's also what they call a platform as a service, which is a type of service that's mainly for developers, because it provides an internet or an environment for their applications, and it's reliable and that sort of thing. But the thing that's really big is what we call application services, because I know that Ash has talked about that. And this is it's giving access to services over the network. And one of the things that Ash was talking about was when Google or some other internet service provider or not an internet service, but an email provider, they get to define what spam is, you know? So when we have these AS or these application services, we're talking about programs that like program hosting, which we're going to be doing. And when we have our own email and web hosting and all that, we get to make those definitions so that we have more control over what we're doing as well. Of course, there's also software as a service, but we all know what software is, which is, I mean, that's really kind of huge itself since we are a digital company. So I just wanted to kind of put that out there and let people know that that's how it's going to benefit us directly. Now, with our digital platform, that's going to, I mean, the money that's going to come in from these data centers, wow. I mean, wow, because everybody needs them, everybody uses them, and it makes sense. And we know that everything is going to be integrated to what we've got with OnPassive anyway. So when you as a founder, it's like there's only, what, 1.2 million of us now. Lynn, like you said, in a year when they're expecting 100 million more to be on board, that takes us from being the cream of the crop down to 1%. And a year or two after that, when we hit a 500 million or a billion mark, now you're talking about the 0.1 or 0.10% that the founders are. But all these people that are coming in through entering the data systems or the data centers and coming through them for their services, or whether they're through the products that OnPassive is coming out with, they're going to be physical products, or whether they're through the massive digital ecosystem that OnPassive has now, every one of those customers are going to be in and they're going to be paying subscriptions, and the founders are going to get a piece of every bit of that, kind of like that Walmart scenario that Marty put out. So you guys, you know, it's like Ash said, get ready to be in the best shape of your lives. So thank you, Lynn.
Thank you, Jeffrey, for sharing those streams of income. That's what I call them. You know, there's so much, you know, what we know today is, to me, just the tip of the iceberg. That's the exciting thing about this company, is we know just this much of what is coming. So there's going to be a lot more income opportunities as the company progresses, you know. So we're just, I think we're blessed to be here. We're blessed that somebody shared this opportunity with us, because otherwise we wouldn't be here today. We wouldn't know, right? So we are just a very elite group. I think the founder family is very, very elite. The benefits are outstanding. So we would like to thank you for coming today. Our time is about up. I want to give Marty the floor in case he would like to say a few things before we part. I want to thank Engineer Mike for his slide presentation and elaborating on data centers. Thank you, Mike. Go ahead, Marty.
Dr. Benny has her hand up.
All righty, go ahead, Dr. Benny. Welcome.
Thank you. I just wanted to say something like what Sister Gladys says. When I attended the Niger webinar yesterday, there was a Kenyan guy there who was so impressed of what I said, because I said even a single mother or a parent or a mommy that is pregnant, if that mommy is, I will expect them to create an email address for that unborn fetus. So he was happy. Then he told me that he will register his wife and the children. I said, well, how about your mommy? And how about your daddy? I said, when you register mommy and daddy, you don't have to tell them, right? What you should do is that make sure you just keep the information. Like during Mother's Day, during mommy's birthday or Father's Day, buy a house for mommy. You don't have to give them that money, but I want you to buy a house for mommy. He said, that is correct. So I just want to inform each and everyone, those who are out there, if you have the money, or in your household, if you guys don't have money, but you guys can just gather small money, at least that $102, combine, register, because I believe that none of us will ever suffer again. Because if our CEO did not love us, we will not be here today. So I just want to urge each and everyone, those of you guys who are listening all over the globe, please do something. Our CEO loves humanity. All of us, we will never suffer again. Our children, they will be born with what? Silver spoon in their mouth. So when I leave the world, my children will never suffer again. So as you guys are listening to me today, go ahead. Whoever brought you here, say thank you and join today so that next week I will see you guys. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Benny. Multiple streams of income, bring your whole family in, generational wealth. It doesn't get any better than that. Thank you. Let's have Marty wrap up. Marty DeGarmo, you have the floor.
Hey, fantastic. I'm glad I was here. It's gone out to many, many YouTube channels. Michael, you hit it out of the park again. Keep it up because I'm watching you close. Remember that? Don't try any shenanigans. Anyway, it's been very good. And I've got to pop off and go to another webinar, but very good job. Very good. You kept it, made it simple, Mike. Good job.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Gladys Nyaboro, our webinar host and the one that started this webinar. She's the brainchild. So thank you to Gladys. We'll be forever grateful. Such a great leader we have in Gladys. Thank you to Marty for hosting this webinar. Know that this Kenya webinar will be held every week on Saturday at 12:30 with this link. This link will be valid for quite a few months. So go ahead and feel free to save the link and just know, pop in at 12:30 p.m. Eastern on Saturday and we will be here. And we plan to provide you with good information that is of benefit to you. We'll work very hard to provide good content for you. Thank you to Engineer Mike for an excellent presentation. I learn more every day. Every time I hear you, I learn more about data centers and it's exciting. That's just an exciting topic for each and every one of us. Thank you for the leaders here. We had Jeffrey Morlock speak. Thank you for adding to our webinar. And everybody, come back now. Come back every Saturday. We want to see you here. All righty. And spread the word. Yes. And yes, go ahead, Marty.
One more thing. Gladys, you're a superstar. Very good job. I forgot to say that. You are an amazing woman. And really, you're a diamond in the rough for sure. Thank you very much.
She is. She's a true leader. You know, she's got a heart for humanity. And I think of her as just a special human being who is selfless. She does give a lot. You know, you may not know, but she does a lot of giving in private and she doesn't want credit for it. That's a special human being. So I love Gladys to pieces for what she's doing for OnPassive in the background and for founders in the background. It's very loving heart. Thank you. We love you, Gladys. We do. Thank you very much. We're going to wrap up now and you can unmute yourselves and say bye-bye. See you next Saturday.
Bye-bye. Thank you,
Bye-bye.
everyone.
Love
Thank
you
you,
all.
Mike.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, Gladys.